Boom! Scared you. Okay, so today is going to be another kind of different video than I guess what we're used to on this channel. Today, I'm going to be ranking every single legendary. Oh, what's this? A sword? Oh yeah, I'll take this. Huh? Now we must battle! Ah! Ah! Ah!
I like to move it. Jump off the porch, now I'm just cool. I had to change my mood in life.
Now, for those who don't know, the three people watching this, I'm a huge fan of Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I always have. There is some legendaries I wouldn't say I'm unfamiliar with, but there's definitely I know more of certain and like megas of legendaries that I've never seen. Well, not seen, but used or stuff. I've seen some competitive and a whole bunch of baloney. This is gonna be kind of probably not highly edited video, but kind of, everything. I'll just walk you guys through what we have. So my tiers are what are we doing? This is kind of the tiers for like legendaries that are like kind of just don't have anything going for them, and it's really hard to have nothing going for you as a legendary. So I imagine this might be one of the smaller tiers, but meh is kind of like it's a legendary. I guess it it doesn't live up to legendary expectations, but it's pretty cool. Mid is kind of like it lives up. It's a legendary. That's about a legendary mythical. That's it. Lore, I don't know a lot of crazy lore too. Like I haven't watched every single show, so likable, definitely has fans, and then there's celebs, which are big names in legendary space, but also ones that maybe should be big names, but they aren't. And then my personal favorites up at the top, which are the most important, and that's why we're here. Let's start with Articuno. Articuno, one of the first three legendary birds. I'd say it's probably my second favorite legendary bird. I'm gonna say it definitely has fans. I mean, Pokemon Go, Mystic, to Thunder, Fire, whatever those. Like the Pokemon Go game is literally based off these three legendary birds, apparently. So it's good. And now, this is second Pokemon. We already have a Galarian form. I love Galarian Hisuian, different type of regional variants of Pokemon. I think it's amazing, and the fact they have legendaries for it in the DLC of Sword and Shield, bangs. Psychic Flying also, so cool typing. I'm not gonna say it definitely has fans. I wouldn't say that there's a big let me just mute this site. Wouldn't say it's as big or widely known as Articuno. Like I wouldn't say a lot of people, but a lot of people don't know about the Galarian birds. So. Zapdos, obviously going to be definitely has fans for me. I do think it is a little, I don't know if this is my bias, it's a little more popular than Articuno. I do think it is the most popular out of the three legendary birds, but I honestly think actually Articuno might be a little more popular. Galarian Zapdos. Now, I enjoy Galarian Zapdos. I'm just going to put it in likable. You know what I mean? And, okay, this is where I might get a little off. Of course. Moltres is going to be unlikable. The other two birds, I think, are better. I wouldn't say I've seen a lot of Moltres fans. I've seen a lot of Zapdos fans and a lot of Articuno fans. I do think it's like the lesser out of the three, I guess. I don't really know. Not my issue. I really don't care for Moltres. Galarian Moltres, I'm going to say it definitely is likable. I do think I like Galarian Zapdos just because the running, the big claw. But now we're into the big ones, like Mewtwo, a celebrity. Everyone, you've heard of Pokemon, you probably heard of Mew or Mewtwo. Now Mega Mewtwo, I'm gonna say it's definitely has fans. Highest attack stat in the game, I think, right? Yo, hold on, wait away. Yeah, 190 base stat. Crazy. 194 special attack for Mega Mewtwo Y. I don't think Mega Mewtwo Y is literally as known as I think it's still well more known than these Galarian birds. But I think a lot of people probably know Mewtwo a little more from this. I mean, also it was in Smash Brothers and stuff. Mew, I think it's got to be a celeb. I think a lot of probably early legendaries are going to be in the celebrity tier. All right, then the dogs, Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Now, I like Raikou. I do. I think I like it a little more than Moltres, but not really that much. Entei. A lot of these two don't really have. They don't like. I like it more than Raikou. I don't. It just doesn't give me that. See, now Suicune, I'm gonna say definitely has fans. That is a very like I like Suicune, ice type, super cool, hair flow. Also, this is my list, so go fuck yourself. Lugia, I'd say I'm probably. I mean, Lugia. I always hear the joke about Lugia has no feats. I think it's likable, and I think Ho-Oh definitely has fans. Or no, it's just above it and likable because the Ho feather in the show. I mean, I know Lugia and Ho, they're like those kind of like box legendary battles. I think I might take Lugia over Ho-Oh, but tier list wise, I think I'm gonna put Ho-Oh first. Okay, now Celebi. Celebi is one of the cooler ones. I played with Celebi in my Pixelmon. I'm gonna say Celebi definitely has fans. I think Celebi probably has more fans than a Suicune. And now the Reggies. I personally love the Reggies. But I think Regirock, just for its memes, probably has fans. But these other two are mid. Like, not crazy great stats. Not great competitively. They are just a big thing in ice in this. I do love them. But, okay. We have Latios and Latias. Now, personally, I'm going to put them together. And I'm going to say that they're likable just above the... And then the Megas... You know what? They're meh. I really don't care for their Megas. It's just like, what if I was a plane? I'm kind of like, all right, like, you kind of faster than a fighter jet, whatever. Okay. Now, there's the beef, right? Between these two. Kyogre and Groudon. Now, in a past life, or not in a past life, but in my past, I played a lot of Pixelmon, and, you know, it was always like, oh, do I want Kyogre or Groudon? I think I'm rocking with Kyogre the more I get older. Groudon is probably cooler. Kyogre's just better, though. I know it's got like its type battle, even though Groudon still stands 10 toes down, but I mean, these two definitely are celebs. First off, let's make that known. These two are most definitely celebs. I honestly think I put their beef. I think they're probably the most serious debate box legendaries. Primals, love their primals. I really don't think I'm gonna put the primals anywhere. Yeah, because I know it's like mega, but like, okay, and I feel like I shouldn't be doing. I'm not gonna do any megas or mega versions of the legendaries. How about that? Okay, Rayquaza. Everyone who doesn't know Pokemon, I'd say Mewtwo's more of a celebrity, but guys who are just getting into Pokemon and they think Rayquaza is the coolest thing ever, and it is really cool. Like, I have a shiny Rayquaza EX. I love that. I think it's a great art, but it's all about the beefing of stopping them two from battling. The beef with Deoxys. All right, Jirachi. Now, Jirachi is cute to me, the wish element. I think it's going to be a little behind Celebi. Actually, I think more people know Jirachi than... No. I think more people know Celebi than Jirachi. But what do I know? Okay, Deoxys. I'm going to take string form, normal form, and just count all of them. Deoxys, I remember watching Deoxys' movie. And I think it's going to go right here. Deoxys' movie definitely was one of the most, not impactful into my life, but like one of the most well-known movies that I remember everybody doing. All right, we have Uxie. Oh, God. I never Okay. Oh, guys, don't kill me. Uxie and Azelf. What is that pink one's name? Mesprit. Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Okay. These three to me are not crazy off the shelf. They're likable. But also, I think they have their space. Alright. Dialga. I think it's definitely likable. I honestly don't think I see a lot of Dialga fans. I like their forms though, even though Palkia is so stupid. But yeah. I love, gods of space time, whatever, but especially they gain a lot of popularity from like being in Smash Brothers and being Box. Really don't think Regirock should be up where he is. I'm gonna put him back. I'm gonna put him in front of Raikou. Okay, Heatran. Now Heatran to me is mid, but I did see the Mega Heatran that looks really cool, and I'm a big fan of Mega Heatran. Also, I don't know how Giratina got back here, but I do think Giratina is the cooler one out of these three, and it definitely has fans. I'd say it has a big fan. It's definitely a more, I wouldn't say emo, but more like kind of fan base like that. All right, Regigigas, one of my personal favorite legendaries of all time. What's not to love? I spent probably 30 hours building a statue of him in my time. Yeah, it's just a big fan of that guy. All right, Cresselia. I'm gonna be honest. Cresselia is probably not one of the most well-known legendaries. I wouldn't say it's ball knowledge. I don't think any legendary is ball knowledge, but it gives you an ultimate in Smash. Cresselia, I mean, it's the first legendary you see in Sinnoh, but I'm gonna say bottom of likable, and I'm gonna drag these three down to mid. And I'm gonna drag Moltres down there too. All right, Bananthe, is this one right? I think this is Bananthe. Meh. Not a lot of people talking about this. Okay, now Darkrai. One of my personal favorites. Very cool. Definitely would be in celebs, if not for being in my favorites. Definitely, again, has that kind of audience that Giratina has. Of, like, darker and, like, kind of everybody who's, like, into super, like... I don't know how to explain it. You know who the kind of group I'm talking about when I'm saying that kind of thing. A Shaman. Now, I'm going to say Shaman definitely has fans. I'm not going to say it has more than Giratina, but I've seen a huge crew of Shaman. Like, I think a lot of, like, cutesy people or people who like cutesy Pokemon are their favorite legendary is probably, like, Shaman, Meloetta, Mew, something like that. So I'm going to give Shaman the respect it deserves. It's not one of my personal favorites, but it definitely has a big crowd. Arceus, I'm going to put it in celebs just because it's the god of Pokemon. Honestly, Arceus to me, for being the god of Pokemon, isn't that, like, it doesn't, I don't know, it's just, it doesn't have that, like, aura, that presence, or, like, I feel like if you're the god of Pokemon, you should be cooler, right? But, like, I get the design aspect of it, and it is cool. It's just, like, I feel like it's not as popular as it should be for being the god of Pokemon. All right, Victini. Now, Victini is definitely likable, or I think it's the best out of the three of, like, the tiny little itty bitty ones. Victini, again, another one of those that was in Smash, has a movie, Genesect, or Deoxys and Genesect, sorry. I don't think Victini might make an appearance in that movie, I don't know for sure. But Victini does have a big fan base, super cool. I love the design. Not much to say. Cobalion, Terrakion, Terrakion, and Virizion. I like Terrakion a lot. I don't think it's better than a lot of these. I'd say it's better than Regirock in them. Cobalion, I'm gonna say is mid. I don't see a lot of Cobalion lovers, but I do see a lot of Verizon lovers. So I'm gonna say it's likable just on the fact that I have seen a big crew of like people like it. Now, Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus. Oh, and then Reshiram and Zekrom are right there. I don't know how they got there, but let's see. I think Tornadus sees a lot of. I've seen him more in competitive play than like anything else. I'm not too sure where he should go. Because the genie, like, I love the aspect of being a genie. Like, I think that's super sick. I don't know how popular these are. I'm going to say that they're likable. I'm honestly going to say that Landorus is likable, and then Thundurus probably gets the boot to mid. Because I know a lot, like, I've seen a lot of Thundurus and Landorus. I mean, a Tornadus and Landorus, but, like, not a lot of Thundurus. I don't know why that is. Okay, Reshiram. Gotta be, and definitely has fans. Zekrom definitely has fans. I actually say Reshiram. I'd say Zekrom is probably okay. I think Zekrom's probably more popular than Reshiram, but I think Reshiram is so much cooler. And I don't know if that's me, you know, favoritism or whatever, but I do think. Actually, I take it back. I think Reshiram's probably just as popular. Zekrom probably gets the boot. To definitely has fans right beside Giratina. Kyurem. Now I love Kyurem, right? I'm a huge fan of white and black Kyurem. Kyurem as its own. I don't really like legendaries that have fusing elements. I don't think that legendaries should have to fuse. I mean, I guess I know story-wise, but I don't think legendaries should have to fuse with other legendaries to get cooler. I think that you, as your Pokemon, as yourself, need to be cool enough that you don't need me to. Like, I shouldn't have to fuse you. Like, him and Necrozma, like, I don't know when Necrozma's gonna come up, but, like, Necrozma's cooler, and it has to fuse. But, like, Kyurem, I feel like it relies on the fusing too much. Keldeo, meh, I mean, Mesprit's probably going to get the boot here, by the way, too. Actually, no, it's not. But Cobalion is. Okay. Keldeo, don't have a lot of cool things to say about it. Water legendary, cool. It's a unicorn. Meloetta, we're starting to get to kind of cool ones. Meloetta, I do know it has fans. I don't think the fan base is nearly as big as like a Celebi or a Victini, but they definitely are strong out. Genesect. Just jump right into Genesect. Genesect definitely has fans. I wouldn't say people know Genesect more than... I'd say, okay, I can put Genesect there confidently, beside Deoxys because of the movie, but Genesect, again, one of those ones that Smash players know about him from the Pokeball or whatever, but Genesect to me is super cool. I love like a robo Pokemon, you know, even though it's just supposed to be a living thing, but I like it a lot, I think. Okay, Xerneas. Now, Xerneas being fairy, I do like legendary fairies. There's a lot of legendary fairies. Like, there's a lot. I'm going to say it definitely has fans. I'm going to say it has more than the original birds, and I'm going to say it's more than Shaman. Now, Vietal, if you know him well enough, you can call him that. I think doesn't have that big of a fan base compared to Xerneas, even though I kind of like it. I don't know if I'd say I like it more, but it's definitely like, I don't know. I'd say it's one of the Giratina Zekrom. Zekrom should not be up here. The more I look, the more I don't like it up there. Okay. Zygarde is next. We're just gonna do Zygarde complete form. I think I love Zygarde. But I don't know if he's like crazy big. I know it's recency bias from him being in ZA with Mega Zygarde, but I'm gonna put him there. I think Zekrom they deserve a lot of love for the the cells. I know that some Pokemon Go people out there like Zekrom too. We haven't had a What Are You Doing? And I'm gonna put Keldeo on there, by the way. Just wanted to make everybody clear that I don't like Keldeo. Alright, now let's keep moving. Diancie. Diancie's likable. I don't think Diancie is very popular, but I think it's likable. Now, Hoopa. Hoopa! Hoopa is one of my favorite legendaries of all time, but I do see a lot of rise in, like, not cringe, but like, those kind of people that are like Hoopa fans. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of just don't want to be in the mix with them. If that makes sense. But I do think Hoopa is a celeb. I think the Hoopa movie's big. It being in the DLC of ZA is pretty big, even though I've not heard good things about that. And now Volcania. Now, as a kid, I loved Volcania, and I still almost have a lot of his EX or full art cards. Now, being Steam, being in, I think I remember in the Diancie movie, I don't think it's a lot of likable. I think it's probably less than Diancie and Meloetta. I don't think Cresselia should be this high, the more I'm looking. And Verzion can get kicked out, but yeah. Silvally and type no. Now, Silvally being in from the show, Silvally was one of the coolest, like, scariest Pokemon. But a lot of people, when you say Silvally, don't can't immediately picture. Also, Diancie's not in that movie. She is. I'm gonna put her there, but you know what I mean. Silvally, I'm gonna say definitely has fans, and I don't know if I've seen a lot of people, Silvally has its fans. That's all I'll say. Okay, the Tapus. Tapu Koko definitely has fans. I think recency bias, it has fans. It being one of the being the most popular Tapu is big. Electric typing is cool. A lot of being shown of it in the show. The other Tapus, I still love. I still love all the Tapus. I think the Tapus are a great group of 4. I think that's how you do legendaries. Make them regional. You can give them the same name. I kind of wish they didn't, because a lot of people just go Tapu what? They forget Lele and Finny are different. But with that being said, I think Lele is great. I don't think it has... Actually, I do. I do think it has, like, Celebi level fans. Bulu, I think, is likable. I don't think Bulu has, like, fans like that. Bulu is, I think, maybe my favorite out of the Tapus, but I don't love him enough to put him in my faves. I'd say people probably know... Oof. Bulu I might have to drop to, like, under Raikou. Finny, a lot of people don't know Finny, but Finny does definitely have their place. And I'm going to put him above Regirock. Okay, Cosmog, Solgaleo, Lunala. We're not going to do Cosmog. We're going to do Solgaleo and Lunala. I don't care for Solgaleo as a Steel Psychic type. I do love them as, like, icons. I think Lunala is so much cooler. I think Lunala is frankly super cool. I wouldn't put it in no one's life would I put Lunala over Solgaleo. I'm gonna put Solgaleo in front of Verzion, but Lunala is probably gonna jump to, like, above Silvally. We'll call it a day. All right, Necrozma. Now, Necrozma is definitely... I think it's cool. I think it's definitely cool. Likeable. I don't like the fusion aspect like I was talking about earlier, because I don't think as a legendary you should have to have a fusion aspect to be cool, but it is genuinely scary, and I know there's people that were actually scared of Ultra Necrozma and, like, actually, like, the fear factor. Let's get over that, though, because I'm kind of... might not be the biggest Necrozma fan. Next is Marshadow. Marshadow definitely has fans. I've seen a lot of Marshadow. It being small and cute is cool. I also do like that it's got, like, the cuteness aspect, so a lot of people that, again, collect those cute Pokemon are like that, like Marshadow. It's also in Smash Brothers. It's pretty well known. I personally love Marshadow. I think it's really cool. I don't think it probably doesn't get the respect it deserves, but I do think that the people who love Marshadow enough for all of us. All right, Zero Aura. Zero Aura is mid. I personally like Zero Aura. I think Zero Aura is pretty cool. I do think it loses a lot of its factor when it's not fighting type, because it's just pure electric. Pretty sure. And I'm gonna be honest, that kind of messes it up. I kind of don't like, you know, the fact that it's just electric. I feel like it should be electric fighting. I even would put it in meh, but I'd put it above Cobalion. Yeah. All right. We're gonna go with Melmetal. Melmetal is pretty. It's a cool. It's got a cool Gigantamax. Got to remember its forms as a whole. But if I'm not thinking about other forms, I probably shouldn't. Now, Melmetal, I know it had cool stuff for Pokemon Go. I personally like it. I think it's a cute idea. I do love like a Glob Pokemon. It kind of reminds me of Regigigas, but the kind of stuff I don't like about Regigigas, it reminds me a lot about. I don't think Entei and Raikou should be up here, man. Every now and then I'll look up there. Okay, whatever. Yeah, the Gigantamax Melmetal is right here. All right, we're gonna do Zacian. Zacian, yes. Zacian has a big group of fans. Zacian, one of the coolest Pokemon. I remember on Drop of Competitive, it was crazy with its ability immediately getting nerfed almost, but I'm kidding, not immediately, but you know, I do love Sword. When it was Sword and Shield, I got Sword, even though I wanted Shield because of the Ice Lady, but whatever. I do think that Zacian is a lot more like not attractive, but like it catches more eyes. I think Sword catches a lot more eyes than Shield, even though I love Zamazenta. I just think as a Pokemon, it's not as cool as a dog holding a 8 feet long sword in its mouth. But yeah, I do think just because of that, though, Zamazenta is gonna drop down to definitely as fans. I do think that a lot of people, when those like box legendaries go against each other, some people like the lesser known one just because they're like, this poor guy. Now I think Zamazenta is really cool, and I think if that Zamazenta was going against like another legendary in a one-on-one coolness battle, it would win a lot of the time. It's just that it was unfortunately stacked up against Zacian. Also, I think Koopa is cooler than these two. But Eternatus. Now, Eternatus is huge, scary. I know it's super on like Judgment Day or whatever. It is like, it is crazy. I do though. I don't think I've ever seen an Eternatus fan. I know there's probably a huge group out there. That's why he's in high. He's probably not as high as these two, but he's definitely likable. I'm gonna put him above the Glaring Birds, but I don't see a lot of Eternatus fans, like a lot of people talking about Eternatus. I don't see a lot of people saying that Eternatus is their favorite legendary. It's definitely not their favorite out of the three. It is super cool, super powerful. I love its Gigantamax. It's super crazy, but yeah, I think it's cool. All right, we're not gonna do Cubfu, but I will do both Arushifus. So we're gonna do Rapid Strike. I think Rapid Strike definitely has fans. I think Rapid Strike is a big one. I don't think a lot of people honestly pick Dark Urshifu, but I'm gonna put them side by side just because they're you know, like that. I do think a lot of people like. Actually, I'm not gonna put it side by side. I'm gonna put it beside Zamazenta. I'm gonna put it behind Zamazenta. I do think a lot of people like the Rapid Strikes more than the Dark one, but like I don't even remember the Dark one's signature, so I do like that they both had different Gigantamax. I think that is super cool and a very nice addition. Also, I think I misplaced him. There we go. All right, Zarude. What are we doing? That's all I'm gonna say about Zarude. Regieleki. I do think Regieleki is one of those Pokemon that has a very good PR team, in the way that not a lot of people know about Regieleki, but they'll see him being like, everyone who is fast gets put in last for Trick Room, except for Regieleki, of course. It's the same with Aggron, where it's like, kind of doesn't deserve all that PR. I think it should be going to another Pokemon, but I do think it's cool. Again, I love Regis. I think this being one of like the few very comparable Reggies is pretty good. I am gonna put it in mid, and I'm gonna put Reggie Drago above the three spirits. I think Reggie Drago, its signature move is cooler. I like its design more, even though it's simple. It's a little dragon face eating a ball, which is the Reggie. But yeah, I think it's fine. All right, Spectre and Calyrex. Not Calyrex, Glastrier and Spectre. I think what are we doing for Glastrier? Don't think a lot of people like it. A lot of more Spectre fans. Now Calyrex riding on the Pokemon is a cool thing. I think Calyrex on its own is probably mid. I think Calyrex Ice or whatever is probably, I'd say, not as cool as Calyrex Shadow. I'm not a big fan of these guys. I mean, Astral Barrage is cool competitively. I know it's good. There's just it's not like pulling me. It's not pulling me towards like the want of like I want to know more about and like talk about these Pokemon. You know what I mean? Enamorus, don't really care for. I think the genies were fine without her. I think Enamorus is mid. Okay. The Ruin. Now Wu Chen. I personally love Wu Chen. I think Wu Chen is fun, like just a cool Pokemon. Like its eyes. I do like a lot of these Pokemon. I know a lot of people don't like this legendary group, but personally, I kind of rock with them. I wouldn't say I do take it over these two. I wouldn't say there's a lot of fans of Wu Chen, but maybe there should be more. Now Chen Pao, on the other hand, definitely has fans. Chen Pao, one of the more, I think, probably the, I'd say it's probably the second or it's one of the better ones of the group competitively. I love it being like, you know, kind of panther with ice fangs. I love the design. I love ice types as a whole, even though they're pretty bad. But it's definitely better than Tinglu. Tinglu, what are we doing? Why is it a horse with a bucket on its head? What's happening? Now, for the big one. Chi-Yu. Now, I love Chi-Yu, probably with all my soul. It might be my favorite legendary. Definitely one of them. Now, I gotta, you know, reorganize mine, but that's not really what we're here for. But Chi-Yu is so cute. I know it's great competitively. I love Lava Plume. I love, you know, the fact that its ability just drops special defenses. I do think that it's a cute design on the Beads of Ruin with just a fire goldfish. I do think it's simple, and sometimes when Pokemon go simple, they hit. I do think that sometimes when they try and take it too complicated, like Calyrex Shadow, like why are we getting Pokemon to ride other Pokemon? I do think it's a great idea though, so don't quote me on that. But Chi-Yu, one of my favorite Pokemon in general, not just legendaries. Koraidon and Miraidon. Now, I think Koraidon definitely has fans, and I think Miraidon probably has a little more fans. Just because electric typing and the fact that it is really good competitively, and electric surge and its speed. Like Miraidon, I didn't personally get Violet. I got Scarlet because I liked Koraidon so much more. But so I can't tell you about gameplay of Violet, but I can't tell you that I think I made the right choice. I love Koraidon. I think Scarlet is a great game. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I played both DLCs, obviously. But I imagine Violet's probably almost the exact same, if not just a cool, futuristic. I do think that, no hate to them, but on their games, I do think that the past Paradox Pokemon are probably a little cooler than the future ones, or like, I'm not seeing a whole lot of Iron Delivery or whatever the, you know, Delibird one is called. But you do see a lot of Fluttermane, Screamtails, Raging Bolts, and, you know, just stuff like that. Gouging Fire, and that kind of thing. Alright. Where am I? Oh, I am at Walking Wake. I do think Walking Wake is mediocre. I think Gouging Fire down here is probably a little cooler. I think Raging Bolt is way cooler. I think Raging Bolt probably is one of the. I think it is probably the best Paradox legendary. I see, you see so much of it in competitive. I love Raikou with a big neck. I think it's a great design with the cloud. Raging Bolt, what a tough name. Like, Raging Bolt definitely clears the other two. I just think the gap is bigger than I thought. Iron Leaves, like, all right, I guess. I do think I'm gonna take. I Iron Leaves is mad, man. Like, I don't think there's anybody out there who's gonna tell me that they're an Iron Leaves. Like, that's their guy. Iron Boulder, same kind of thing. Iron Crown, I do think is a little cooler. Still gonna put it over here. I just think that they missed on those three, but they definitely hit on at least Raging Bolt, which is nice. Now we're going to get to some of a little group of one of my least favorites. The Dories. Okie dokie. Definitely the coolest out of the three. Not cool enough to make me feel anything for him, though. He's meh. And now Monkey Dory. Now, I saw this on TikTok, and it was talking about, well, everybody has a favorite. What is your least favorite Pokemon? And I honestly think, without a doubt, and I could say it strongly, that my least favorite Pokemon is most definitely Monkey Dory. Legendary and non-legendary. Monkey Dory serves no purpose. I do think that it's cute. I also had personal vendettas against Monkey Dory because it wouldn't let me catch it when I played Scarlet DLC. But I hate it with all my heart. Definitely worse than Okidoki. I think Fezandipity is definitely the better out of the three. And I'm going to put it definitely under Regieleki. But I do think that they missed with... I just don't like those. Ogerpon. Favorites. Ogerpon is so cute. I know I said I don't like the story because the story is weird with the bullies and stuff, but I do like the fact that it's been done wrong. And you get the masks, fight that guy. I forgot his name. R.I.P. him. We took his favorite Pokemon right in front of his face, but I love Ogerpon. I think Ogerpon is one of my favorites. I do think that I was enthralled in the storyline of Ogerpon. I do think it was way more story-wise. I think the first DLC was so much more led by Ogerpon than Terapagos, which the DLC didn't feel like it was led by Terapagos. It felt like it was led by characters and storylines with the past DLC, which I understand is the goal of the part 2, but also I do want more focus on Terapagos. Now, Terapagos also did introduce Stellar, like Terra Stellar, which I think is awesome. And I love Terapagos. I do think it's really cute and it's really cool, and I love the way it looks. Even in its disc form, I like it. And even in its stellar form, I think it's really cool. I think I actually put it too high. I think it's better than Tapu Fini. But boom! Alright. Let's walk through everything I have right here. First one is not ordered. The rest of them should be ordered pretty well unless I see something while I'm speaking out loud. My personal favorites. We got Chi-Yu, Regigigas, Darkrai, Ogerpon. Already talked about why I love these four so much. Also, didn't speak on Ogerpon's divisiveness, even though it's not really crazy, but I like that IV Cudgel changes. It'd help me in my playthrough, definitely. Celebs. Now, you'll notice that there's a celeb missing and a celeb added. Mewtwo. Most definitely one of the most biggest legendary Pokemon everyone almost knows. Groudon, Kyogre, Rayquaza. Those three are huge names in the space. Everyone knows those. If they were celebrities, that's like big dogs, like huge actresses, like household names. Mew and Hoopa, I don't think are as household as the other two, but I do think they're so well known that if you know anything about Pokemon, I actually don't think Koopas as well, but I think if you know Mew, if like you know Mew too, so it's fine. Hoopa, Zacian, Reshiram, and Xerneas. Now these four, uh, Xerneas did boot out Arceus for the spot, but I think that they are very well known. I honestly don't think Reshiram should be up here. I think Reshiram should probably take a back seat by Arceus. Xerneas is well known, and I know it has a huge, large fan base. A lot of people like the fairy typing. A lot of people like the fact that it's a deer, it's magical, it lights up, it's cute. Another cool Pokemon that I've seen a big fan base for, and I can get around why they get around it and get behind it. Obviously, Zacian's up there. Then you have Giratina, Zacian, Zviavetl. Also, I like to say it with a fun accent. I don't know if you can tell. Tapu Koko, Tapu Koko, I definitely do think deserves that spot, and I can't tell you if it's recency bias, because that's what I feel in my heart, and my heart might be guided by recency bias. But Tapu Koko, Articuno, Zapdos, Reshiram, and Arceus, I still don't understand why Arceus is not cooler. I think Arceus should be cooler, be more of a household name, be bigger, known, more, something. Deoxys, Genesect, Miraidon, and then Urshifu. Um, Urshifu, I think, went down a spot or two, and also we kicked out one of the other forms because it's just Urshifu. The fact that it is two forms shouldn't be two separate Pokemon, even though they are two separate Pokemon. I think the fact that you change it from Urshifu to Urshifu by evolving the Cubfu in front of the banner is a very cool aspect. And I do think that it deserves a lot of praise for being cool, even though with its cool ability of punching through Protect. Marshadow, big, everybody loves Marshadow. Then we have Koraidon, Zygarde, Victini, Terapagos, we'll see our second Tapu and Tapu, Lele, Celebi, Lunala, Silvally, Jirachi, Suicune, Zekrom, Zamazenta, Raging Bolt, Chien-Pao, Ho-Oh. Now, Ho-Oh has joined into the Definitely Has Fans Club because I think Ho-Oh is way more well-known than I was understanding. With the Rainbow Feather, the episode, and the legendary bird fact. I think it's, I do think that I've overshot how, like, I didn't think that many people. Also, it's big in Pokepia and just stuff like that. I do think that it is more well-known than I thought. Gosh, that's probably stinks. Dialga, Palkia, Necrozma, Latios, Lugia, Eternatus, 3 Galarian birds, Volcanion, Tapu Fini now is the third Tapu. Bulu has dropped because I don't think a lot of people enjoy Bulu. I think Bulu has a very cool design, and I do like it, but Fini I do think is overall cuter, and that is more of a well-known thing in Pokemon, in my eyes, is people like cuter things more than cooler things. Terrakion, Regirock, Tornadus. Oh my god. Tornadus, Landorus, Diancie, Calyrex Shadow, Meloetta, Magurnia, Solgaleo, Melmetal. I didn't move Magurnia up, and I moved Volcanion up. I don't know if anybody could tell, probably in my way, but I do think that movie it moved mountains for me, so this is my personal list. That's why it is big to me. I also do think that a lot of people, me included sometimes, get her and Diancie mixed up, and they really don't. Looking at it, they kind of don't look alike. They just kind of both have that gray aspect with like the wide, like bottom kind of, with the two hands and kind of like a little up and do. But I don't know. I also have seen a lot of people confuse them too, which is kind of funny. Solgaleo, Melmetal, Wuqian, Tapu Bulu, whatever Chud, Virizion, was the likable tier. Now mid, again, these are not bad Pokemon, but these are just mid. They're not. They're 5 out of 10. Like, I'm not gonna rate them something great. I'm not gonna rate them something wonderful. I think 5, and then it's like 6 to 7 in likable. Definitely as fans is 8. Celebs are 9 and 10s, or there could be a 9 or 10 and definitely as fans. And then my faves are just my faves. Mid 5 out of 10. I think it's Kyurem, Regice, Gouging Fire, Walking Wake, Thundurus, Moltres, which is so crazy that he's so far down compared to the rest of them. I personally just don't like Moltres that much. Regigigas, Uxie, Mesprit, Azelf, Raikou, Registeel, Heatran, Regieleki, Fezandipity, Calyrex, Iron, Brown, and Cresselia. Meh is kind of like 4 out of 10, 3 out of 10. It's going to be Zero Aura, Okidogi, Entei, Cobalion, Fanaphi, and Fanphi, whatever their name is. Enamorus, and Calyrex Ice, or whatever. And now, I do think that What Are We Doing should have had more. I should have had more people in What Are We Doing. Because I do think that a lot of these legendaries do miss. And I don't think there's a lot, but I do think there's more than I've put. But also, I took into account like big fan bases. Like there are some of these Pokemon I personally don't like and don't think they deserve spots, but I know how big their fan bases are. I know how popular they are, or I know how good they are competitively. So I can't move them so far down and feel good about the list. What are we doing though? Keldeo, Zarude, Glastrier, Tinglu, Iron Shoulder, Iron Leaves, and the worst Pokemon of all time, Monkey Dory. Um, I don't think these Pokemon are great. I also no, these are not good Pokemon by standards. I think Tinglu, honestly, is probably the best out of this group, and I enjoy Tinglu just because it was in Scarlet, and I do think that it's cool. The ground dark type, I do think it's one of the cooler typings, but I honestly don't think Tinglu should even be down here. I just don't like Tinglu, but I think Tinglu should honestly probably be. I like Tinglu. Tinglu was gonna go into mid. It's gonna go right in front of Walking Wake. Yeah. But Keldeo, Zarude, Glastrier, Iron Shoulder, Iron Leaves, and the worst Pokemon of all time, Monkey Dory, should all stay down there. Don't see a spot for them in the future. I don't see any openings for them to join any squad. If you are a Zarude, Monkey Dory, Iron Leaves, Iron Shoulder, Glastrier, Keldeo guy, or girl, or person, fan, you need to get a better Pokemon. Never seen a Monkey Dory fan. God bless my soul, I don't ever, so I don't ever have to fight. So yeah. I'm probably gonna be doing this with Megas. I honestly might even turn this into not a series, but maybe doing like lines of Pokemon, like every generation line. Like I like the Blastoise line or the Charizard line, but we'll see how we get there. I'm definitely gonna do Megas. Probably what I might record it tomorrow from when I'm recording this, or probably tonight maybe if I'm bored and I have nothing to do. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this list. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, or you want to make your own list, you can join the Discord, and there's a Pokemon channel, and I think there's might be a list channel too. You can put that in there. But if you have any issues with my list, no, you can comment down below. It's whatever. It's your life. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.